As we cruise around the store today on Retail Reality, let's talk about hiring. Just some ideas about hiring, some general practices that you may want to consider when it's time to hire somebody. So you've got your business plan set up, you've got your location secured, you have products secured. Now you're in the stage of hiring. First, you're going to have to determine if you need anybody else. It may be just you for a little while by yourself with the hours that you have. It may be long hours as you begin to build a business because you don't want to overextend yourself expense-wise. But also in some particular businesses, you have to consider it as an investment initially when you're going to have to hire as part of your investment. Think of considering having enough investment money set aside to be able to pay an employee for maybe a month or two before you generate enough income to be able to cover their salary. And when you're looking for that person, there's several things you can do and several things to consider when you're beginning that process. So first of all, just want to remind you of a few things to be sure you have a very clearly defined role. You'll find that's going to help you down the road when there's any issues that may occur or problems that may creep up or into your situation there at work. If you have clearly defined roles, you'll less likely have an issue or a problem with what the expectations are when you have to have that unfortunate meeting with your new hire or maybe a seasoned hire. It's been there for a while, but those roles need to be defined clearly. And then you need to know what kind of skills and qualifications that people need that's going to be hired at your new store, your new location, your new business. And make sure their responsibilities are very clear too. Because people tend to forget things. People tend to get comfortable in their surroundings and forget their responsibilities and let things slide. And it will become an ire to you, a point of frustration that you have to address constantly. So you want to be sure you're clear up front what the expectations and responsibilities are. And, identify the needs that you're going to have there at your store. What are you going to want them to do? What type of workload? And what kind of skills that these people are going to need that's going to be working with you? And what are some long-term goals? Will this new hire be somebody that you can invest in on a long-term basis? They're going to be useful to you, helpful to you on a long-term basis. Not just someone to get by, but someone you can invest in, spend a lot of time training and teaching and putting your time and effort into so that they can be a productive employee for your team. And then you want to also create maybe a strong job posting. You can go online and do this. Different sites that you can post, you can go through, create a listing that be attention grabbing if you can. You can use AI to help you with this, or other people that can help you maybe define attention grabbing ideas to get someone to consider maybe coming to your store and being employed at your store or your location, your job, your business. Have a very engaging description and make it where people will be compelled to want to be at your job. They would be motivated to be at your job, excited to be there. And then after you've done that, the resumes begin to come in. Review them carefully. Identify those candidates who's going to meet what expectations you require. Do an initial screening like a phone interview or maybe a video interview if you have the capability to do that. If you have a skills assessment test you'd like to use, there's many that you can find online to utilize to help you there. And then don't forget to check their references. A lot of companies also like to employ background checks. There's services out there that you could use for that as well. But remember to do your due diligence because you don't want more problems in the future because you didn't do a good job checking the references. Also, be sure you're familiar with federal, state, your local governing agencies, what the expectations are when you're getting ready to hire someone or do the interview process and you're asking questions, because there are certain questions you can ask and questions you cannot ask. So be sure that you're aware of those things. I highly recommend you consulting a lot of your state websites or consulting employment agencies in best practices for wherever you're located and wherever you're at. The process must be fair for everyone. And then just thinking about a few other things. Think about how you're going to conduct this interview. Be organized when you approach this interview. Don't just shoot from the hip, so to speak, and have random questions I asked. Ask questions that you would ask each interviewee that's going to be approaching you and you're going to be meeting with. Have a lot of the same questions to ask and see what the replies are. You begin to really get an idea of what you're looking for when you begin to think about all those things. So consider the questions you're asking and try to determine if they're a cultural fit. They may have an impressive resume, but they don't fit your culture that you're looking for. And that will gradually cause conflict down the road. And then be sure to discuss salary and benefits. See if that meets the expectations of the person that you're interviewing. And, does it meet the demand of the salary that's in your area, your region, what people are getting paid, from minimum wage requirements to tips to sales, whatever it is, commissions that you're going to be offering. But again, be sure you check all the employment laws. Be sure you have all the documentation you need, such as I-9 forms, W-4 forms, just to name a couple of them. But there may be others in your area, your state, your location. You must do the research and determine that for yourself, because it's different in different places. And then consider where you're going to have the money, to pay for this employee. Have you budgeted? Have you allocated for these salaries? And if you're going to offer any benefits, are you considered that? If you're going to offer any type of benefits as far as insurance, you're going to help pay towards insurance, or are you? It's going to be totally up to the employee to find that on the marketplace. So there's other benefits to insurance as well, other types of insurances that are available beyond just health care. And I'm sure as you get a business open, there'll be those that will come by and visit you and ask you if you'd like to sign up and offer your employees some of these advantages. And then another thing to consider is how you're going to onboard the employee. Are you going to onboard the employee, again, just making them stand around and watch? Or are you going to try to tell them some information very quickly? It's important to really work out how you're going to talk to your new hire. You need to have a plan when they come in each day for work, how you're going to explain things, the training, what time they're going to need to arrive so that you can begin talking about all the things that's going to be done that day, to get them prepared mentally for the day and what you expect from them each day, so that they can know where they stand, what they need to really be focusing in on, paying attention to when you begin to bring out details or information that's pertinent to your job or their job. And so be sure you have a plan. Be sure you have a structured plan for training. You can find lots of ideas online, again, that can help you with this for whatever industry that you're going into, whatever small business you're beginning to start. So I encourage you to take the time and invest in that, and to be very thorough in that, because you're laying the groundwork. And same way with gardening, if you don't plant the seed in the proper soil at the right depth and give it the proper fertilization and attention that it needs, then you can begin to have a lot of other issues that's going to crop up and cause problems that's going to be aggravating for you in the future. So be sure you take the time to thoroughly train them. Have a plan each day. Don't let a moment be wasted when they're there in your store. Remember, they're on the clock and you're paying them. Whether they're standing there observing, watching, whether they're sitting in a chair, flipping through Facebook on their phone or other social media, it's up to you how they utilize that time and what you have planned out for them. I have a list that I have a daily and a weekly list that they go through and they sign tasks that are expected to be met each day. And they go through that and check off and initial that they've completed those tasks each day. And I share the responsibilities with each the team members. And and another thing as well, even though you're the boss, try to be a leader and be a good leader by setting a good example and being a good team player and be right there in the trenches with them. That's critical for their motivation. If you cut yourself off and you're not a part of what's going on, at what they're doing once you've got them trained, then sometimes little things slip in that they're not doing correctly, and it could be a source of losing money. Maybe you can sell warranties with your appliances that extend the warranty a few more years, and you've emphasized that and you train them in it. Maybe you even give them a bonus. But sometimes over time they'll forget the little things of adding those or asking the questions to add those things on. So you need to be asking those questions too. Are they still doing this? Are you observing how they're selling in the selling process? Maybe not right over their shoulder, but from a distance, just observing what's going on. Are they following through with the procedures that you've set for your company? So I hope this helps you here on Retail Reality to give you a better perception of how to train and find the right people for your location.